Okay. Hello, everyone. As part of my Spotlight on South Asian Women series, today I have Darpan with me, and she is the owner of DB Health and Fitness. Now, I reached out to Darpan because she's been posting on LinkedIn and Instagram about a lot of areas that I think will benefit women, such as how to change your mindset and get over blocks when it comes to improving health or starting an exercise routine, and also what can help us when we reach that perimenopause or menopause stage, which is a real hot topic right now. She's also created this business after having a corporate career, which is something I'm very interested in. So, hello, Darpan. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello, and thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to dive straight in. And, I mentioned that you had this whole corporate career before you started this business. Could you tell me a little bit more about what instigated that change?
I think for me, it was really like, for a lot of us, it goes down to COVID, the years when we were at home with our families. And that really was the turning point for me because my lifestyle wasn't what people see now. It was completely opposite. And for me, at that time, it was more, my children became my why because I just thought I can't really have them, grow up thinking that unhealthy lifestyle is okay. So I kind of started changing my routine, my habits, and I think just to learn more about the whole fitness thing, about the whole nutrition thing, I wanted to get a qualification just for my sake and for my children's sake. And I think that kind of just turned into a business. And if I'm completely honest, 4 years ago, if somebody would have said to me, I would have never thought I'll be running my business because I was quite happy in my corporate world, getting a good salary.
And it's a different type of life, isn't it? The work that you do. And I had a corporate career before coaching, and it's very regimented. It's like you know your routine, you know what you're doing there, but owning your own business is such a different way of working. And you sort of have to be a jack of all trades, I find.
Yeah, and I think like you said, we touch into that. But again, I think being a business owner, the mindset needs to be there as well to have that discipline to do things. Otherwise, it's quite easy to keep, like procrastinating about things, I guess.
Yeah. And you mentioned that your children were your why and the changes that you make. I'm just wondering, did they rub off on your family? Did they see you as a role model and you managed to change things?
100%. I started seeing that pretty quickly during COVID, actually. And I think more so when I look back now, at that time, when you're going through a phase, you don't kind of appreciate that. And I mean, I don't know how much it is true for a lot of families, but as us as a family, we would never go out for walks. And that kind of change, like every day we were going for walks. And, we used to wake up in the morning and do Joe Wicks like on YouTube. He used to do workouts on YouTube. And we started doing all of that. And I started trying a lot of new healthy recipes at home. And my boys just loved it, I think. And when we say carrying it on, my older one is at uni. He's got a gym membership. He's very particular in the food he eats. My younger one is very sporty. So I think, it is a ripple effect. You kind of start changing something on yourself and it rubs on to people around you for sure.
Yeah, I definitely see those ripple effects. And I think women can be such great role models, but sometimes we need to step back and always think, is this the life that I want for myself? And what am I showing to the people around me? If it's not children, it's, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, like people watch and notice more than we realize about our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about mindset because I know COVID was a great time for people to reflect and a lot of people did make changes after that. But say you're back to that day job and you are working pretty much 9 to 5, whether it's full-time, part-time, and you're struggling to make those changes, what would you say that could perhaps help women with their mindset of actually I want to make some changes in my healthy eating or whether it's exercise? Where could someone just begin if they've not done that before?
Yeah, I think like you say, mindset really starts from yourself, first of all. I think, women particularly need to be committed to it. And I think, for me, mindset was really getting over my excuses. So, personally, for me, it was always like, of course, for all of us, right? Kids come first, family comes first. And that was the case for me as well. But instead of making children, for example, as my excuse, I found the reason why I should be working out because of my children. Because you want to create that healthier lifestyle so that you are able to play with your kids. You are able to, when they get older, dance at the wedding and things like that. So I think having that mindset that don't make excuses, first of all. And the second thing I say to people is try and change your perspective. So, I get a lot of women and everyone says that, oh, we don't have time in the day to do my workouts. And, sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind. And I often say to them, look, I've got 24 hours in a day. My clients got 24 hours in a day. My friends who are quite consistent with their workouts, they've got 24 hours in a day. So if we can get a workout in, so can you. And I think just changing that perspective, that thinking, oh, I've only got little time, maybe we just need to wake up in the morning and say, wow, I've got 24 hours in a day. And I think just by changing the tone of how we are thinking, our mindset can change a lot. And I think, again, it's eating healthy. It's, creating those habits is about planning. It's with anything. I say to people that when we go to work, if we've got like a big presentation to do, we spend 2 weeks before that to start planning it and trying it and things like that. So our lifestyle needs to be like that. Start planning. How does your week look like in the next week? Over the weekend, start planning that. Start scheduling your online groceries, for example, if you can prep something up. So I think mindset is all about taking one step at a time. I would say, don't overwhelm yourself and don't look for quick fixes. And, take one step and try and just see how much you've progressed rather than just being fixated at the end result.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with so much of what you said there. Firstly, the excuses, because I think we can all do that. I know I sometimes just look outside and I'm thinking, oh, it's not the greatest weather for me to go outside today. But other times I'll just put the raincoat on and just go.
Yeah.
If it's in our minds, and like you say, creating those small, manageable habits, that's definitely worked for me as well. And the planning thing, I think you hit the nail on the head then, because I speak to a lot of women and they say, oh, the greatest burden is I don't know what to cook today, or I don't know what healthy meal. I just reach for anything in the fridge. Whereas, and that used to be me a couple of years ago, but now I take the time on a Sunday and I plan for the whole week. I buy exactly what I need and I'll put in the healthy options there, even down to snacks, because that's
Yeah.
probably the hardest thing I used to face was just
Yeah.
for the biscuits. Whereas now I'm like, okay, I've got my fruit, I've got my nuts, I know what's good for me. I'm just going to have it out. So there's no excuse there. But definitely, even in the coaching perspective, we say one step at a time. Think of one area that you want to work on and just the things that are going to be easy for you to implement
Yeah.
with your coach
And
in that area.
I think, like, like you would say in coaching as well, it's the consistency. I think we often forget, like, we pay so much emphasis on motivation, but we kind of forget it's a consistency that leads us to our results. And sometimes I say to people, motivation is a bit overrated. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm not always motivated to do my workout, but, just showing up sometimes and having that consistent behavior is, that's how you build habits. If you're consistent for 2, 3 weeks, it becomes a routine.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And there's small things you can do to help that. I mean, and for example, some of my clients they say, I've got my exercise clothes out ready the night before. And it just takes away the decision making and the less decisions we have to make. If it becomes automatic,
Yeah,
it becomes easier to do.
absolutely. I mean, I also say to people, like, stack it up with something that is quite constant in your routine. So, like, for one of my clients, she knows that every morning she has to drop her kids to school. So she would do that, and she's kind of attached after that, that either she'll do half an hour workout or she'll go for half an hour walk. So now it's built up into a routine that, yes, she has to go and drop her kids to school, and then she has half an hour to do whatever movement activity she wants to do. So that way, it kind of, it's embedded into your routine rather than. So, what basically I want people to think that eating well and doing your workout should be a part of routine rather than it's an extra to do on top of everything else. So, if we are kind of stacking it up in between our things that we are already doing during the day, then we all have enough time to get it done.
Definitely. And the exercise is the one part, and the nutrition comes into the other part. And I'm just wondering, how do you bridge both of them with your clients?
So I always say there's really three pieces of jigsaw, to be honest. And like, like you've rightly said, it's fitness, it's nutrition, and then we talked a little bit about mindset as well. And I think all three really needs to work together. And I think fitness is, yes, one side. You do your workouts, you do your walks, you do your steps, you stay active. But I say to people, you really are what you eat. And especially, with a lot of our health issues are related to food. So, we need to prioritize on things, and, everyone must have heard about it, like our protein. And now there's a lot of topics, hot discussions going on about gut health, which is fiber. And rightly so, like, fiber keeps us full for longer period of time. So again, I think what I say to my clients is, like you said, plan your meals. You know what protein you need to eat. You know what carbs you need to eat. You know what vegetables you're going to cook. Have everything ready. And that is the only way you're going to bridge any gap you have. And, I also think that we need to be just mindful, a little bit more mindful in terms of what we are eating. Let things work around your lifestyle rather than changing everything, because I think a lot of times we just want to change everything. We see something on social media or in news and we are like, okay, I'm going to jump onto that and do it. That might not be the right thing for you because your lifestyle is very different. So, find ways what works within your lifestyle, because eventually that is what's going to be sustainable.
Exactly. That's such a good point because it's one of the things I also say in coaching. When I ask people to form their actions, I test them and say, well, is that sustainable in your lifestyle? If this is just a fad, it's going to come and go and it's not going to do you any good. You're going to be in the same positions when you started. So making things right for you in your lifestyle is such an important aspect because, people talk a lot about just having the proteins, especially if you're weightlifting and doing the exercise, but you've got to make sure they're the right proteins for your body. And South Asian community, you get a lot of vegetarians, and it's finding right sources for them as well. I'm also looking into the nutrition side, especially I think as we get older and the impact of nutrition on perimenopausal symptoms heading into menopause. They seem to be really hot topics at the moment as well. I mean, everything I read about is related to gut health, but also with perimenopause, the right level of nutrition that you're getting, vitamins and minerals all seem to be coming into that. Have you had any discussions around that too?
So many times. I think what happens is, if we just take a step back, we associate weight gain with, going through menopause, perimenopause. And again, it's kind of become an excuse for a lot of women that, oh, I'm putting on weight because I'm going through, my hormonal changes, which to a certain extent is true. But I think what's actually happening in real world is we are not changing or adapting to these changes that our body is going through. And nutrition is a big part of it. So, what we could eat in our 20s and 30s, we can't eat the same quantity of food now. So, we need to be eating smart, I like to say. So, I don't want people to think that they need to eat less. They just need to eat smart. And which basically means that, a lot of emphasis needs to go on protein and fiber. And, protein is important because our bones are depleting as we are getting older, and protein is a building block for our bones and muscles. So in order for us to even, stand from a chair or go up and down the stairs, we need to have those strong joints to do that. So protein helps us with that. And on the other side, we've got fiber. So fiber keeps us full for longer period of time. So which again helps us with weight management as well. So I think nutrition really becomes a big part. And, having a balanced meal, I say to people, if you really are eating a balanced meal, then you should be getting all the supplements, nutrients that your body needs. Unless, of course, the doctor has advised you that you need to take some vitamin supplements or something, that's absolutely fine. But, a pill of multivitamin is really not doing much to your body. Try and get all the sources from natural things that are available to us. And I think the other key point that we forget is hydration. Like, water is so important. And I've kind of realized that the days when I'm not drinking enough water, I'm getting more hungry, I'm getting more tired. And because what happens is if our body is dehydrated, sometimes it sends the message to our brain that it's hungry. So instead of us, thinking, oh, let me go get a glass of water, we end up going for snacks. So, and of course, we all know water is good for our skin, our health, our gut health, all of those things. So I would say, focus on protein, fiber, your hydration, just to keep your energy levels up, really.
And would you say, as women get older as well, that exercise routine, like if someone has been exercising since they're young, but they sort of get older and don't see the same kind of results, Are there perhaps exercises that we need to change as we get older to adapt to our bodies?
Absolutely. I think for me, and again, that's a very hot topic at the moment, is strength training.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key. There's no, two thoughts about that. For any women who's, I would say, over 35, you should start training, lifting weights. And I often have to clarify this because when I say to people lifting weights, even now, a lot of people associate that with, building
Mhm.
muscles and having a muscular body. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to lift 10 kg weights, just anything to give your body resistance. Like, I often say to people, look, I lift weights. I don't have muscles. I don't look masculine, but, your body needs that for the same reason that, our bones and muscles need that strength. And that really is a game changer. Like, in terms of me personally, I used to do a lot of cardio before. Like, I was the person who used to do 3 spinning classes in the past. I've got clients who used to do 10K run twice a week, and they're like, but nothing is happening. It's because, like you say, we've got to change our habits in terms of how we are training our body. Cardio at this age is not suitable for a lot of people because, for injuries, our bones are getting weak and things like that. So lifting weights is really the key. And I think the second part of that is, of course, more movement because our metabolism has slowed down. So, we are trying to kickstart our metabolism by doing strength training and eating the right type of food. And secondly, by introducing more movement into your daily lifestyle, you're burning more calories, which your body needs because it's not, burning as many calories on its own as it used to in the past.
Yeah.
And I think with strength training, I just find like, I think I've spoken to so many people. I mean, I sound very passionate about it. It's because, like, it's really changed everything for me. Is mentally, it gives you that sense of power and confidence. When you lift weights, it really does make you resilient as well. Like, that you might have had this block that I can't lift weights. If you were somebody like me, I always had this block that I can't lift weights. And when you go past that, it really gives you that body confidence, that mental confidence that you're able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. My past few years, I started, very on a low level, beginner level, with some kettlebells. And
Perfect.
I really enjoy kettlebells. And, I find YouTube works for me alongside the kids because I find it hard getting out the house
Mm.
for classes just because I'm working and I've got the kids. But I find that 20, 25 minutes of just kettlebells a couple of times a week helps. And
Yeah.
you do feel better as a result as well. There's part of the
Um,
kettlebells and I go for a daily walk. And just those two things together, it's not about the weight loss for me anymore. It's just about how I feel in myself.
and I think that you really nailed that actually, because a lot of people want to do these things because of weight loss. And I say to them, like, let's move from being skinny to being stronger now, because that's where the future is going to serve us. We need those muscles, we need those, stronger bodies to deal with what our bodies are going to go through when we go through menopause, perimenopause, even post menopause. And again, like, what you said is 20, 25 minutes. Some people have that mindset that, oh, I don't have an hour, I can't do a workout. It's, we need to shift away from things like that, that something is better than nothing. We put so much pressure on ourselves that I need to do 45 minutes, an hour. 20, 25 minutes is perfect. Do something and just enjoy it. That's what I say to people.
Yeah. And there's so many different avenues to fitness as well now, whether it is, I have a mat downstairs and some weights and the TV, I've got the space to do it, or going to the classes if you're more interested. There's a lot of people, or hiring a personal trainer if you're more devoted and you really want to make sure you're on the right path. I think there's so many options available, and just need to find, like we said, the right path for your lifestyle,
Mm.
what works for you. Also, don't be afraid to try different things because I find sometimes going to a class it's not just the exercise, it's not just going out and seeing people, meeting people, having a PT, it's meeting someone and someone supporting you in your journey. So there are lots of avenues available. I think it comes back to that mindset as well for women
Mm.
that obviously we'll say to ourselves, we're too busy, I've got the kids, I've got work, it can't just add another thing on. Going
Yeah.
back to what we said at the beginning, and it's actually saying you're important, you need to prioritize yourself and your health. and value yourself as well. And these are the types of really basic things, really, exercise and nutrition. They're such a basic level. And I do think as women, we need to prioritize that, prioritize ourselves and our health. And my husband and I often have a
Yeah,
conversation, and we've just got a goal between us. We're like, we need to walk up the stairs when we're 80, 85, 90 years old. And that's our
exactly.
goal. Our goal is, looking long term. What do you want to achieve?
And actually, it's so true because, when I have my one-to-one clients going through the 12-week journey with me, that's the first thing we do. I say to them, identify your why. What do you want your future to look like? And, for me, and of course, your why would change. Like, initially I started all of this and my why were my children. And now my why is really like, I love traveling. So like, like you said, if I am around till 80, I want to be able to travel the world on my own without, wheelchairs. I want to go up the stairs of the airport and enjoy walking around. And I think that is what we need to get tuned into is what do we want our future to look like? And then I think what we do need to remember is our actions today will define our future. Lots of times we end up thinking about the past, oh, I wish I could have done that, and I've not done that, and it's too late now. It's never too late. I've got a client who is 65, and she was training to go hiking.
Wow.
And, for me, it was like age is just a number. She can do all these things, and hats off to her, she's doing it. So, when people say, oh, maybe I've left it too late, please, you've not left it too late because what you are going to do today is going to define what you'll be able to do in the future.
Definitely. Yeah, that is such a good point there. So I think we've covered that bit of nutrition and the exercise, especially when it comes to perimenopausal menopausal women. Is there anything else that you would say to someone who's perhaps wanting to improve themselves in terms of health and fitness?
I mean, of course, like I said, I think, fitness and nutrition, like you said, we've covered. I think the other big thing really that we all go through a lot, which has impact on our fitness and nutrition, our mood, is our stress level. And, I it's not easy for me to say don't be stressed because of course we all go through that and there are days when I'll be running around like headless chicken, but I think just finding strategies to manage it. So it could just be simple thing that if you can just get somebody to help you batch cook your food, for example, over the weekend. Can you get your family involved? Can you get help from outside so that the stress during the week is less? And stress then has an impact on sleep. And again, sleep plays a big part in our well being, physical and mental well being. And, yes, women going through menopause, perimenopause, sometimes sleep is the biggest issue for them. And then we go into that vicious cycle because, you haven't slept well, you are tired, you're too tired to do your workouts. So prioritize sleep. If it means there are lots of things out there and there are things that I've tried on myself that have worked for me. So sometimes I say to people, just try a few things out. You've got to try things out to see what works for you. So, whether you want to take magnesium tablets or whether there is, lavender sprays that you can use to calm yourself down. There are some researches that have gone on into some herbal teas that you could take that aid you to sleep and things like that. So, find what works for you. But I think the overall lifestyle needs to be around how you manage your stress and your sleep, I think.
They're two really key areas, and yet they're such a foundation of life. It's such a basic, I said before, it's almost getting back to basics, focusing on the things that are important. And they are things that can help us live longer and live healthier lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, we, like I say, sometimes we are too harsh on ourselves. And, one day, if it's not going to plan, that's okay. Just keep that aside. Because what we tend to do, we just like dwell on it. And I used to be like that. I just used to analyze it. It's like, why did that happen? Like, how did I let it happen? Simple things. If I don't have milk in the house, I'll be like, I'm a mom. I'm an organized mom. How can I not have milk in the house, right? Now it's like, oh, it's fine. We don't have milk. Let's just go and get milk. Like, something as simple. So I think we just need to give ourselves a little bit of that leeway, that, self-care, that it is okay. We are not here to be 100% perfect. we are here to do the best that we can with, with the circumstances we are in.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I can relate to that. Putting yourself on a pedestal and thinking you have to have everything perfect, you have to
Mm.
have everything right. And even for exercise, I'll have to have all the right gear. You don't, you just have to get started with something. And if it, like you said, if it messes up one day, put it to the side, say it
Yeah,
happened, it's life, and start again the next day. Every day is like a new day to start afresh.
yeah.
And sometimes that's the best way to look at it. If you ever fall off the horse, just get back on again.
Yeah, and my motto, like my business motto is, which I love, the fact that my motto is progression, not perfection. And that's what I've kind of thrived on that, because then you take away that pressure from yourself
Mhm.
and my clients as well, because they've obviously come from the same mindset that, oh, my workout needs to be perfect, my weekly planning needs to be perfect. And it's okay. You know what? You've cooked 5 healthy meals in a day, in a week. It's okay. You've still shown some progress. So, let's start celebrating those little wins that we are seeing as we are going through the journey.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes women need a bit more encouragement and community around them. And I do think if you can get out and find other people that are wanting to go on the same journey as you, it can help to have people around you and support each other.
Yeah, and it's accountability as well. And yeah, you have somebody who's going through the same thing. So a lot of time, going through a journey can be lonely. So
Yeah.
this way, you kind of know that somebody else is going through that with you.
Mm. And when you do your 12-week courses, do you have a cohort of women that go through that together, or women and men?
No, actually. So because they can just join my program as and when, because I do one to one. So, so they have personalized things, but we have like a WhatsApp community. Then I do group coaching as well. So that obviously starts and ends at the same time. But they have me as an accountability partner. They have me saying that, why haven't you done your workouts today? What
No
excuse have you
excuses.
had?
And some people need that as well, just to start off that initial shove is to have that accountability and someone to say, I've done this or I haven't done this, and to dig a little bit deeper with you. So I think it's actually a really valuable asset if you just don't know where to start with it.
And I think it's that having that confidence, because sometimes, like, I have clients who've been going to the gym and they're like, we've been going to the gym, we're not seeing any difference. And I think it's just knowing what kind of exercises are right for you, how to perform certain kind of exercises, eating out, how do you manage eating out? So, we all read so much about it and we all kind of know what we need to do, but sometimes implementing it is harder. And having that confidence that somebody is there to guide you is enough for a lot of people to just start their journey and see it through.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Darpan, it's been brilliant having you on. I feel like we've covered so many different topics today, from the nutrition, the health, the mindset, working on mindset, planning ahead for the week. No excuses is something I'm going to take away. There's no excuse. Be prepared, get planned, and if it doesn't work out, try again the next day. I think they're the big takeaways for me. So thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your information with people, because I feel like when we look online, there's a lot of disinformation out there. There can be so much, whereas hearing it, and it just sounds like everything you said is very sensible and it's very relatable. I think we need that sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.